oma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Oma volleyball in action. Go Big Green!
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800. Wall-to-Wall Wine & Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall-to-Wall Wine & Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see lots of sunshine with a light breeze. Despite the cold start, we'll see a high near 24. Tonight, increasing clouds, a continued breeze, low near 10. And tomorrow, a chance of wintry mix, otherwise mainly cloudy and windy with the high near 38. I'm meteorologist Kyle Butler for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown! 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
DeMornay Pierson-El.
Only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome into the Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. As always, we got the host, DeMornay Pierson-El, at least the wall for the moment. 402-464-5685. That is the starter Heyman text line. You can put a face to the voice. Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. All great ways to do so. Just got done with We Talk Back. Shout out to Cade Johnson. He joined us for that one. Obviously, the son of Cluster Johnson stepping in with Eric Strickland and myself. We got DeMornay Pierson-El, and starting things off here, we do got tip-off Husker Hoops. 7:30. We'll have post-game for it as well. Obviously, the men's team facing off against the Terrapins here at home tonight. Ranked Terrapins as well. They are currently sitting 25, so it is another opportunity for Nebraska to get another ranked win. Good morning, Pierson-El. I bring you in. How's it going on a Thursday night?
It's going real good, game day, a big time game, a much needed win.
Yeah, finally. It feels like it's been a minute too. Really since that last big win. Actually, how many days has it been? I think it's been a pretty decent break coming from Ohio State at home. Okay, I forgot. They did have Ohio State at home. But nonetheless, we're looking at the season schedule. This is possibly, two of the last ranked opponents you'll have left on the schedule, depending on everything else shapes out. Maybe Ohio State. I'm not seeing that, though. This is a game where Nebraska has done a really good job putting 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row after losing 6 straight. And they're in a good position. If the season were to end today, most people would feel pretty comfortable that they'd go ahead and punch their ticket into March Madness. The fact is, though, you still got 2 ranked opponents, and you can really put yourself ahead there. Facing the Terrapins, the last time we played them, we did play them on the road. They beat us. It was a close game. They only edged us out by 3 points in that one. What are you kind of expecting in tonight's game?
A little get back. I think it's going to be a tough game. You got to shut down Maryland early. Don't let them get in the rhythm. Again, it's tough playing in the Big Ten on the road. They're coming out to the vote. So you got to make things hectic for them.
Yeah, and the one thing is, this guy drives me nuts, and he's a great player. He drives me nuts because he's good. So, it's not like I'm bashing him, but Julian Reese, it feels like he's been at Terrapins, with Maryland forever. I see that guy year in, year out, and it gives me, I'm blanking on the guy. Give me the Minnesota quarterback. Was it Morgan? College football. And stayed there for years. He looked just like the head coach.
I know what you're talking about. I can see his face. I can't see his name, but yeah.
It feels like that. Like the guy's just been around forever. It's basically my point. And with the problem with it is, you think a guy that's been around that long, we feel pretty good about how to slow him down. Offensively, at times we do a good job. Looking at the last game, he was 4 for 8, 32 minutes. So he shot 50% from the floor, but he only took 8 shots. So you can live with that. The problem is, though, the 10 rebounds. He's just always a menace on rebounds when it comes to us. Got to get a body on him. Looking at the other scores, they did have some unlikely heroes in that one, just shooting really good numbers from 3. Gillespie, and that one was 5 for 9 from the 3-point line. And that was kind of a big stretch that helped push them ahead. He also gets 5 assists, 4 steals. And that's the other thing I think we'll need to talk about is turnover issues as well. Looking at that previous game, was it just rebounding? Was it turnovers? I mean, it was a very low scoring game. So it's kind of hard to say it was the defense, but offensively, we're doing a lot.
I think it was a combination of things. A small few mishaps, and they capitalized on a few things. I don't think it was our best showing. I think we started slow. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that game as well.
We were outscored in the first half, not by a lot. Yeah. We started catching up somewhat as that end of the first half started, but it was 35-37. And then in the second half, again, really close, but they were just doing just enough to stay ahead. They win that one, 32 points to our 31, just enough to get them ahead by 3 when the clock hit 0.
Yeah, so I think, they got out a little bit on us playing from behind, and then you have the rebounding issues and the turnovers that kind of showed their head doesn't help. And that's a 1 possession, 2 possession game. Any you can pick whether first half possession or second half possession or whatever. And you could have been. And I want to say free throw shooting was a big point in that game too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right. We were 6 for 11. We shot 54%. You make 3 of those, we at least go into overtime. You make all 5 of them, you win by at least a 2-point lead.
So it was just small, minor things that handed you that. It wasn't our best showing, and it ended us costing a game that we should have won.
Yeah, and that's kind of where this Nebraska team is. It's a good team. Just the way they've battled back after losing 6 straight. Especially with the conference being is what it is. I mean, it's a tough conference, and they found a way to pull out of it after really getting schwacked by a few teams in that losing streak. I think that Purdue game just kind of broke the mentality. Anytime you take a beating like that, it's hard to to reset, and it felt like that cloud kind of hung over them for a while, like from Iowa to Purdue, and it just kind of got a little bit worse. So for them to pull out of it's incredible, but there is certainly still weaknesses on this team, offense being one of them. They're finding ways to do it, but there are situations where you're kind of holding your breath, hoping that sometimes 7-minute drought doesn't come around the corner. So when I'm looking at this team, this was the Andrew Morgan game. Last time we played Maryland, he was actually the leading scorer. He had 17 points. It was high efficiency as well. We don't have Burke Bear-Uchtengel in this game, which is a big deal. Arguably our best defensive player. You can say Juwan Gary, Burke Bear-Uchtengel. I'm good, with arguing between those guys, but you're losing one of them. Do you play big? You try to attack them the same way we did with Andrew Morgan, where he was having a really good night, and you just play with size, or with the lack of Burke Bear-Uchtengel, do you try to lean at any sort of small ball? Because that's kind of the only piece I'm trying to figure out. Because when you look at the box score, like I said before, you were right there. You don't want to change a lot.
I don't think you want to play small ball because they got a lot of athletes on their team. They're similarly built to like a Illinois. They're run and gun. Typically, they're not a slow it down shooter. They're not a 3-point. They want to get after you. So if you give them the matchup of what they want, I think that plays into their favor. So I would say big ball a little bit, slow things down a little bit, get your right shot, kind of tire them out, and lean on that. You don't want to make it a track meet with them.
Yeah, and it's one of those where I think you almost got to feel, and Fred Hoiberg's good at this, at identifying matchups. It's certainly, I agree with you, you're going to want to play through your size.
Mm-hmm.
Really got to, get Andrew Morgan going, get Braxton Mia going. I still want to see Braxton Mia be utilized. I just have a hard time believing that. We're struggling as much as we are to get that guy just easy lobs. Like, it doesn't have to be, again, a hard, complicated play. Like, just figure out someone to get to the lane. Mia, be ready for it. He's got to look for it more as well. It's not just on the coaching and everybody else out there. He's got to want and demand that ball and get near the rim. But this is a game where last game they shot 25 threes. Again, not a ton, but a lot of them felt like they're kind of coming late and they started getting red hot there. And that's where a situation where if you can force Morgan or Braxton Mia, and I wonder what it looks like without Burke, providing a little bit of help on that rebounding as well. But if you can get one of those guys to start bullying the interior inside, then you kind of really hurt Rutgers. That's not really their strength anyway. And then they're going to have to try to constantly attack inside. I think that's obviously the script. It's been the same script that's won us all these games in this points in the paint. And I think that continues tonight. Who do you think is going to be that guy tonight in terms of the stat sheet? You think we're a chance of another Andrew Morgan type game? Bryce Williams is the easy one, but it does kind of feel like it's set up for Andrew Morgan anytime he faces teams like this.
That's a tough one. I mean, of course, I'm not gonna pick Bryce just because that is the easy one.
I should say guy who steps up his game, not necessarily,
I think Juwan steps up in a big way tonight. Differently, I think you're going to need him on the offensive side, but you're also going to need him to step up on the defensive side. Not that he hasn't or anything like that, but playing back at home, the team plays differently. The crowd, gets things going or whatnot. I think this could be a big game for him to kind of put in his his memory bank of things and whatnot. Because I think he can definitely be a matchup nightmare against a Maryland type style of team. He's physical enough. He's big. He's not tall and lanky, kind of like how Bryce is. He has a little bit of. I think he's a little bit bigger, so he can use that. He's aggressive with getting to the bucket, and especially getting in passing lanes or creating turnovers and creating momentum like that. So I think this is a game to where he can shine, especially with how Maryland, their style of play is. I think this favors his style of play.
Yeah, I agree as well. And when I'm looking for this game, it's without Burke Bear-Uchtengel, it's pretty obvious. Like, he's not going to be the offensive guy, but there is going to be room. I am waiting for that Sam Hoiberg game for him to just get hot from three. He's a good shooter. I think on the stats, he might actually be still sitting at 40%. So it's like when he gets an open look, he's, more often than not knocking it down. And again, this just feels like Connor Season demands so much attention, and I am hoping that Wooster, can find his shot. Sam Hoiberg can continue to work around that perimeter to find his openings. He is a really good shooter. I'd love for him. I wouldn't mind if he takes more 3-point shots. I think he's leading the team right now, above Connor Season, which, in all fairness, tougher shots for Connor Season for sure, and he's taking a lot more. But when you got guys like that, like, there's going to be a little bit of extra room for you to go get yours. And I understand Burke's not, like I said, not the offensive juggernaut in there, but there's going to be rooms to step up tonight. You can't have Bryce Williams and Juwan Gary, carry you, and Connor Season, those three guys carry you all the way to the promised land, to March Madness, and then win the first March Madness game. You're going to have one of these games where you're going to have some collection of those guys to step up. And to be totally fair to them, it has been getting game by game by game. I feel like all of those guys are getting more and more comfortable in their role. Final thing I got on Nebraska hoops. We'll just quick do predictions here. Right now, Huskers are favored 1.5.
Only 1.5?
A little bit surprising. Maryland being at home, or excuse me, on the road, you would think they'd be a lot less favored. Let me double check, see if the lines moved, but I'm pretty sure we're still stuck around 1.5 here. Number 25, Maryland at home, 1.5. And ESPN even has projecting Maryland to win it. On their matchup predictor, they have Maryland. On their game odds, they have Nebraska at 1.5.
I think the team just operates different at home. Again, you played this team so close away, and you're probably swinging at the air because you did enough to win. You just didn't capitalize on a few possessions. I'm not going to say it's going to be a close game, but I at least got us by 8.
Okay. Us by 8?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I love that answer. Looking at the last 5, prefacing this to go ahead and give my answer, and this is kind of like the best way I'm watching college basketball now, is like these runs are a lot more real in like college basketball than they are in the NBA. It feels like NBA, these teams will lose a horrific fashion, and then it's like they just play so many games, it just doesn't really phase them. In college, you see these skids like really send teams down, and like we obviously suffered one mid-season. We sent UCLA on a horrible skin, and then we saved Creighton. After we beat them, we actually somehow saved them, and they won a bunch of games, and then that's when, of course, our skid started. Ironically enough, you look at Maryland, they're kind of getting hot. Same thing with Nebraska, though. Illinois' last 5, they were on the road. They played at Illinois and absolutely beat the brakes out of them, 91-70. Then they were on the road at Indiana, but they barely pulled out, still get the win, 79-78. Then they get Wisconsin at home. They win that one as well, 76-68. Ohio State, they actually lose to. Ohio State is one of those teams that is, despite having a way worse record than Nebraska.
Streaky. You catch them on a right night, they can get you.
Oh, they can get anybody. And we'll talk about that real quick before we go to the break. But just to finish this list, and then the last one they played was Rutgers, and they won that one 90-81. So they're winning games pretty comfortably as well. And of course, for Nebraska, we know we lost Wisconsin, and then it was over. We break the losing streak. We beat Illinois, we beat Oregon, we beat Washington, and we did beat Ohio State by 8 points. And that Ohio State win is a little more impressive, and then I think some people realize Ohio State is very up and down. So they're 15-10. It's like not a great record when you hear it in your head, but if you go to Ken Palm and all these net rankings, they're actually sitting pretty high up there. That's because they started off with a win over ranked Texas. Then they just lost. Then they did lose to Texas A&M, but they would go ahead and beat a ranked Kentucky team. They would beat a ranked Wisconsin team. They would beat a ranked Maryland team, and I'm missing a few more ranked wins in here. All this to say is like their strength of schedule is insane, and they did actually take some more losses than these ranked teams than I realized, but they were close enough. And I guess when you're playing that many good teams, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt, and it's going to shove you up there. Especially in net rankings, you see it a lot more with their losses. But I do want to talk about just this comment that we're kind of seeing around the SEC. And I don't know if you caught this on social media today, but it might have been one of the funniest things I've heard. Where are we at in terms of who the best conferences are in basketball? As of now. Not all time, obviously.
I mean, you could... It's still, I think, between the SEC and the ACC. You know you're going to have dominant teams in both of those. Now you can pick between the two, but I think that the dominant conferences are those two.
I'm not going to disagree with you. Certainly, like the SEC, you don't really need to even argue about it if you are an SEC fan. Like these games are kind of showing it themselves. It's very deep conference. Yes, there's a lot of ranked opponents in there, but most of them feel pretty fitting, especially seeing what it looks like when some of these teams go out there and try to play Auburn. They go try to play Alabama. These other conferences aren't really matching up that well. The thing that I'm not a fan of is, for anybody who's watching the Texas game, the other day, the announcer, Carl Ravitch, had one of the craziest quotes I've ever heard. He clearly fell for just what was a media headline there, and happens to the best of us. But the morning Pierson-El, I'll just let you take a listen here of them trying to boost up the SEC in its competition level. And here's the commentator on that yesterday.
So think about it. We know how dominant they were in the non-conference season, the SEC. They were 185-23. Since January 4 into Tuesday, the SEC teams are 82-82. It's not as if one team or two teams or three. They're 82-82. Like there's been no ability to pull away. There's no dominant group of teams.
Okay, DeMornay. Let's break this down. If you were playing non-conference games, he gives the example, in non-conference games, the SEC was like 123-81.
You're supposed to be.
That's not the problem. You're supposed to be. It's the fact that when he's talking about in-conference play, he's talking, and then he's like, there's no separation within the SEC. Everyone's right there, all bunched together. The morning Pierson-El, if we have one team and two teams in a conference, we'll call it the Don't Punt Hour Conference. We play game one in this conference between two players within this conference, or two teams within this conference. One team has to win, right?
Correct.
And the other team has to lose, right?
Correct.
So what's the conference overall record?
1-1, even.
500. It's always 500 if you're playing conference play. I just couldn't believe that was a real statement. That was bizarre. So be careful which headlines you read and announce out loud, because it's always going to be 500 in conference play, because it's two conference opponents playing, and one's going to lose, one's going to win. It's going to be 500 every time.
If you play supposedly everybody twice, just about.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's all conference. It's always 500.
Yeah,
there's no world it's not 500. That just made me lose my mind hearing that. And then the other part was like, there's just no separation. What are we talking about? There's clearly separation. You have Auburn, Alabama is like, you're looking at those guys as a lot better.
They're in their different lane than just about everybody else. Like it's them and maybe another team, and then you can kind of group in whoever you want to group in.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's, all that just on that little tyrant there, because it's like, you can't say that and like, there's no separation. Yes, there is. You're watching it right now. That was during Texas and Alabama. You were watching it right in front of you, and Alabama put an absolute whooping down on Texas. There's the separation.
Wasn't close.
No, I just thought that was funny. So I had to share that because I heard that and I was like, that sounded weird. And then I went on Twitter. Yeah, sure enough, there's a lot of people that caught that. They were like, I don't know
what he meant or what he was trying to get at by saying that. Like,
well, I think it's one of those things where I don't know what it looks like at that level, but I'm sure they give you like some stuff to talk about, in between breaks. They get some prep work done. They maybe have people help them. Mm-hmm. It could be one of those things where Colorado just, unfortunately, someone put that on there and just in the flow he says it. Because if you were to ask him to think about it, there's no way he says that twice. I just thought it was really funny. Yes, in-conference matches are always going to end up 500 because one wins and one loses. So that's going to wrap it up for segment number one. On the other side, we're going to talk some Husker football. We're going to talk about some of the guys with some real pro opportunities. They're going to be having an opportunity here next year. So don't go anywhere. Don't punt hour. Good morning, Pierson-El, Harrison Arns. Talk to you in a bit.
Hey, Husker Nation. This is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top-quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through February 18th is 15% off chocolates, 15% off wines and spirits, and $10 off filet mignon per pound. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and on behalf of the entire Koppel team, we would like to say thank you to all of our loyal customers and employees that have allowed us to become one of the most successful GM dealerships in the country for the past 50 years. So we are celebrating that with some huge discounts. Right now, we have up to $13,500 off MSRP or 0% APR on select new models, and new Blazer EVs are leasing for $279 a month with zero down. So check us out online at koppelcars.com. All deals with approved credit. See dealer for details.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Hey volleyball fans, this is Laura Dijkema, National Player of the Netherlands, and now the setter on Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players, and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering for us in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action. Go Big Green!
Cupid, the messenger of love. That guy is totally undependable. This Valentine's Day, choose Petal Creations as your personal messenger of love. From designs that say, hey, I kind of like you, to you rock my world, we know how to create the perfect floral design sure to tell your Valentine how you really feel. We have so many design choices it will make your head spin. More importantly, they will make her head spin. PetalCreations.com or 423-6500. Stop in and see us at 56th and Highway 2 in the Edgewood Shopping Center.
Salt Mine City is not only Lincoln's newest brewery, but they're also now serving food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their peanut butter and jelly burger with bacon and cheddar cheese, or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. Don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 11 a.m. every day but Mondays at 8th and R.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
M Suits Clothiers, Lincoln's favorite men's store. Family owned and operated, located 1 block south of 56th and Pine Lake Road. The end of season clearance is going on now with up to 50% off. Stop in now for best selection on sweaters, outerwear, suits, sport coat, dress pants, and dress shirts. M Suits Clothiers, your menswear store.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in. Segment number 2, Dump Punt Hour. Harrison on the 1s and 2s. Good morning, Pierson-El streaming in. You guys can always join in. Start him in text line or via any of the streams. Switching it up on segment number 2. We talked a lot about just kind of Nebraska hoops and also some of the crazy comments by Carl Ravage in the Texas-Alabama game. And I brought all that up just to say that, you know, this is why some people don't like advanced analytics, because sometimes we're just saying numbers because the numbers, you know, make whatever we think highly of fit that sort of narrative. And clearly, as we talked about in the last segment, when you're playing conference play, you're always going to be 500. Moving on, Husker football. Good morning, Pierson-El. Let's talk about some of the guys who are going to have an opportunity to play at the next level and play on Sundays. I want to take it back. NFL's everywhere now. They can play on Monday. They can play on Sunday. They can play on Thursday. Just any day but Wednesday, really. But let's talk about him. First guy, Thomas Fidone. Where do you think, you know, his strengths could be for the NFL? What does he got to do to make a name for himself and be able to get on a roster?
Prove he can be healthy. I think he's definitely a talented guy, but they're suffering from injuries and understanding, you know, what the NFL is looking at and everything like that. And him having, you know, multiple knee injuries, that'll probably be the biggest concern. Honestly, it's just, you know, how healthy actually, you know, he is and whatnot, and taking a chance on that.
Yeah, and like that's just a guy where I just don't know what it looks like when he's just had enough time to be fully healthy. Was this year 2 of him having a healthy summer, or year 1? Like finally just getting to go and play.
I think it's been 2. Because I want to say he had one other healthy year, and then some of his knee injuries like happened off season. It wasn't during the season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, a lot of it was off season. So it's just I think he's got a chance. It's one of those guys like, man, I just wish I got to watch more of him. The frame wise, he's got it. The, you know, athleticism that he had when he got originally recruited certainly says he has it. For me, it's just whatever, you know, the injuries, how badly
that's going to be the biggest concern at the next level. We know he can catch. We know, you know, he can block. We know he can do other things and whatnot. It's just literally, you know, how is he going to continue to be healthy? That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's going to be, you know, it's just a red card that a lot of, you know, people who are going to go draft players, they're going to pull that stuff up, and it's just unfortunate. But that's just a long list of injury history. So, you know, best of luck to him. He's just going to have to like really gut that thing out. I think just unfortunate due to that injury history. Let's talk about an easy one. Ty Robinson. We've already kind of talked before where he could be in the draft projected. He's a phenomenal talent. Some people are saying he's sliding up. Some people aren't moving on him at all. Ty Robinson, he's going to get a chance. What does he got to do to keep it?
I think he has to perform and kill the stuff at the combine. I think you do that, and people will be shocked and kind of turn on the tape and like, you know what, you know, he can be a riser, because they spoke good about him at the Senior Bowl. Mel Kiper spoke good about him because I want to say he's in the top 10 for his position. So that right there, it is good in itself. Now it's just you got to build off on your stock, and how you do that is you go to the combine and kill it.
Yeah. And I just got to say, from Tommy, this caught me off guard. Apparently the moon's beautiful. Don't do it yet. When we go to break, he's telling everybody, go check out the moon tonight. I don't know if he's just trying to get people to walk out in the freezing cold, but yeah, with Ty Robinson, he's going to have some opportunity.
For sure.
Because you're right. He is moving up on that board. And when he up that high.
He kind of reminds me a lot of Cam Jorgen's process. Like, and
a little more polish even, because he's just been at that position longer. But I get what you're saying.
What I mean by that is I think Jorgens went second round, and it was kind of like, whoa, like, okay.
You're right.
And it's one of those sneaky sleeper type situations, and it's like if you pay attention enough and you really dig into it, and he makes people turn on the film and actually watch what he was doing and actually watch the stuff that he had to deal with, and him still being the force he was, you can see him rise or be a surprise pick, day 2.
Yeah, and if they watch that Ohio State tape, there's real possibility. Because if you really watch the tape, because you're going to see a few times, we talked about it before. Like, you're like, damn, that guy's getting held really bad. If he wasn't getting held right there, like, that quarterback's getting sacked easily. And it's going to be a brutal one, a blindside sack. And there was other times where he was just clogging it up in the run game. That whole game for Ohio State, why that game was so close for Nebraska is because they could only throw the ball. The only offense really came off of deep balls. They were miserable trying to run the ball. And that is a great offensive unit. Maybe a little bit better at pass pro than running the ball, but it's Ohio State. I mean, those are top tier recruits, and Ty Robinson was competing with them and looked like the best one out of that, offensive line and defensive line that day. He just looked like an all around the best guy, the scariest guy in the trenches for both sides of the ball. So that's why I think you're totally right. And if they catch some of those tapes against better of that competition, like Ohio State, trying to think of other teams you could throw out there that had really good lines, like Wisconsin would be another good one.
Boston College. You can look at Boston College. Look what he was doing against them.
Sealed it for us practically with that one sack that took him out of field goal range. Like, that was a big deal. I can't remember how close it was, but it certainly was to your point, another nail in the coffin.
Mm-hmm.
You want anything else on Ty Robinson?
I mean, that's pretty much it. I think he's going to shock a lot of people.
I think so too. And I actually like your analogy of Jorgens a lot. Now that you say that, like, just the way that he's quietly just been talked about more and more. And it's like you're seeing the top accounts like mention it. Like, nobody else is really saying too much about it yet. I think you might be onto something. I'm not sure how high, but definitely wouldn't surprise
me. Even if you go back and look at Vincent Valentine, I think got drafted late 3rd round, maybe 4th round. Malik Collins got drafted 4th round, if I'm not mistaken, and whatnot. The twins, Khalil and Carlos, they got drafted, I think 6th and 7th round, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, he definitely has that caliber to go within the first 4 rounds.
Yeah, and that's good company to be with. Like Vincent Valentine. That's like weirdly enough, one of my favorite Huskers, just on the defensive trenches, because he's just immovable object. Like, you just weren't going to block him. The way you wanted to do it, you weren't going to do it that way. You had to get extra help to move that body, because he was not going to let you do it very easily. That's enough on Ty, though. We'll find out. Obviously, all of these guys are, I think it starts today, right? Thursday? They're Indianapolis for the Combine, or when is that?
I don't know if it's this week or maybe next week. Next month. I can't remember.
Okay, never mind. It's February 27th.
Yeah.
So it's 27th through March 2nd. So we still got plenty of ways away here.
Couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense. Super Bowl literally just ended. So with that being said, we still got to talk about Isaiah Nayor. He is also going to be out there. He really impressed people, it sounds like, at the Senior Bowl. And some of the practices he was doing out there. For whatever reason, at Nebraska, he played a pretty good year. We just maybe not as explosive as some people thought. Some of that on the passing was just predictability from Nebraska's offense. We don't have to go down that rabbit hole again. Isaiah Nayar, only 1 year at Nebraska, but obviously if you choose to come to Nebraska, I'm always going to root for you once you depart from here. What do you see in this guy's future? Like, he's got the size.
You know, what's the guy? Torrey. So is it Samaje Torrey? That got drafted to the Packers a couple years ago. Like
Samari Toure.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much that. You know you have the weapons. You know he's capable of things. He has the return ability and everything like that. Excuse me, size, speed. You just have to turn heads enough, and people just have to want to give you an opportunity. With him turning heads at those camps, people will go back and watch his film, and we'll take a chance on him. So I think a later round type of guy, and that's not necessarily his fault or whatnot. I mean, just the product of your environment. What you were given, you still made the best. You went out there at these bowl games and showed what you can do to where people will go back and watch the film. I think he was at New Mexico State, I think, before he got here.
Isaiah Nayar, he was at Texas.
Okay. Okay, the Texas guy. But one of those type of things, he has big playability. So we'll see what things. It's just hard at receiver. He fits the mold of what they want: size, speed, reliable, and everything like that. It's just somebody has to fall in love with you enough to come and get you.
Yeah, that's like one of the best way to describe those skill position guys. Like, someone's got to fall in love with you almost, because there's so many good skill talent players. It's just like every year. And even if you make the cut next year, these athletes today are so good.
He's fast too. So you got the NFL looks at speed, power, and how big you are. That they definitely pay attention to that. And he hits 2 or three of those things. So it'll be very interesting.
Yeah, and he's got a good chance. Just hearing the stuff that you had heard about him, he's making, people notice him, and like you said, he's going to have the physical profile that, I mean, they just love potential. Everybody loves potential because
that part.
It's a great thing to tell your boss when they want to know, what's the future look like. You can talk about potential. You can sell anybody on potential. So with Isaiah Nayar, yeah, he's going to have a shot. I just don't know. It's one of those things that's you got to figure out how good is this wide receiver class, and we'll really figure out as time goes on. And we're getting to a point today, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but we are so much closer than we ever were before. These guys, especially in certain position groups, I'm certainly not saying this is true for the offensive line. These guys are out of the box NFL players now. They need certainly some catch up speed, but it just feels like they're at a new level of understanding. And the college playbook is maybe getting more and more complicated. Do you kind of see that too going on in the NFL with these wide receivers, quarterbacks even this year? Not saying my guy, but you can't look at Jane Daniels deny that guy just looks ready to go immediately. Is this becoming a pattern or making it even more competitive?
So a lot of people are putting kids in a position to be ready for that moment. So the moment isn't too big for them. The CJ Strouds and everything. The moment's not too big because that's something that they've been chasing, and not just the first round type of guys. There are guys all over the place. From rounds 1 through 7. Look at Purdy. Purdy was 7th round. Mr. Irrelevant, and look what he's doing. So it's the product of the environment, right system at the right time, and you going to a place that utilizes what you do, and enhances it, and the return on that value, it goes through the roof.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got to run out of time here, so real quickly we'll go through Tommy Hill. The last one we're going to talk about. There's another guy we'll talk about it on segment 3 who was not invited to Indianapolis for the combine, which I was a little bit surprised about. But Tommy Hill, he is invited. Kind of an interesting one because he played really good early on. Then you could argue maybe a little bit of lackluster play, but certainly has the attributes to be a great lockdown at that position. Thoughts on Tommy Hill?
Like him a lot. A lot of versatility, a lot of upside, a lot of Cam Taylor-Britt
He's got a lot of dog. Those guys both had that in common. Like they get mad. I kind of like that at that position, especially when you got guys that are trying to shove you around. Like
with him, I think the biggest thing is, exactly what is this injury? Because I mean, it pretty much sidelined him, the second half of the season and whatnot. So that'll be the biggest thing, which a lot of teams will probably be questioning and see what his medical looks like.
Yeah, I think
because the film, there's
how bad was it? I'm blanking on how bad the injury was.
It was a turf toe.
Okay, that's right.
And it's one of those things that it could be a lingering issue. It's an annoyance type of thing and whatnot. But again, the right system, the right defensive coordinator or defensive coach that likes him, that thinks he can fit for their system. He's shown that he can play inside and outside, versatility. The film is going to speak for itself. It's just a matter on how good his medical go and how good he does at the combine will dictate, where exactly things will be at.
Yeah, and I know you're not a doctor, but I'm sure you've seen it more than I have. Like, educate me a little bit on a turf toe, because I remember this with Taylor Martinez. I obviously get the idea of like what it is, but how does it become a thing where, in the case of Taylor Martinez, like despite even having tons of time off, like it becomes this.
It's a lingering issue. It's like having a bum hammy. You don't want to outreach too much or do something too much, because there's always a way that you can tweak it. You're on your feet a lot, and you have to really stay off it and kind of let it not be as irritated. It's a nagging injury, and it's not one of those things that it can go away. You just have to be patient, kind of with it, rehab, do what you need to do, and kind of watch it. But it's an annoying injury.
Yeah, that makes sense. This might be a bad analogy. It's, somewhat like break your nose. Like once you break it once, it's really easy to break it again or make it worse.
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Because it just derailed Taylor Martinez's career, and I was a young lad. I was on top. I had so much fun watching him. And I think it was Kansas State when he ran off for something crazy, and I was like, "Oh my Lord, we got something." And then the turf toe saga was just crazy with him, and not fully understanding why it just kept coming back. So that makes sense, though. I wanted to clear that up because you made me think about the good old days of Taylor Martinez when I was really first becoming a good Husker football fan and catching everything. With that being said, we'll throw it to break. We'll talk about one more guy. Unfortunately, Nash Hutmacher not getting invited out to the Indianapolis Colts doesn't mean he doesn't have a shot at the NFL. We'll talk about that next. Don't Punt Hour. Talk to you in a bit.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see lots of sunshine with a light breeze. Despite the cold start, we'll see a high near 24. Tonight, increasing clouds, a continued breeze, low near 10. And tomorrow, a chance of wintry mix, otherwise mainly cloudy and windy with the high near 38. I'm meteorologist Kyle Butler for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solutions offers fleet services, as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions, 2024 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
Gentlemen, Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Don't be that guy running to the store for flowers and a card on your way home. Hey, Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. We have great Valentine's gifts in store now. And if you spend $99, we'll throw in a free bouquet of a dozen roses. Give her what she really wants this year and let us do the rest. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, your hometown jeweler since 1905 in Lincoln and Grand Island. Online at sartorheyman.com.
Hey farmers, do you run a precision planting monitor in your planter tractor? Boyk Farm Outfitters is hosting our annual 2020 Monitor Clinic at the Holthus Center in York on Wednesday, March 19th. They'll run through everything on the monitor, from basic setup to more complex downforce settings and everything in between. You'll learn agronomy principles behind some of the monitor settings and will leave refreshed and ready to plant. Representatives from Precision Planting will be on hand to handle any questions that you can throw at them. Visit BoykFarmOutfitters.com for all the details and to reserve your spot.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Greens at 402-467-4444 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-4444.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and on behalf of the entire Koppel team, we would like to say thank you to all of our loyal customers and employees that have allowed us to become one of the most successful GM dealerships in the country for the past 50 years. So we are celebrating that with some huge discounts. Right now, we have up to $13,500 off MSRP or 0% APR on select new models, and new Blazer EVs are leasing for $279 a month with zero down. So check us out online at KoppelCars.com. All deals with approved credit. See dealer for details.
If you don't have Valentine's Day plans this year, strike up some romance at Madsen's Bowling and Billiards. Head to Madsen's on Friday, February 14th for the first ever Love on the Lanes, a live stage front dating show like Lincoln's never seen. The show is free, live on the bowling lanes with audience participation, hilarious Q&As, and unexpected twists. The show is free, but reserve VIP seating by emailing sarah@madsonslincoln.com. Come for the love, stay for the laughs, and leave with memories or a match on Valentine's Day at Madson's. Mulberry Barbecue now has a brand new second location to help all your lunch and dinner cravings. Stop by their newest location at 6125 Apples Way near Lowe's off of Highway 2. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burn-in sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos, a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Mulberry Barbecue open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway, and now at 6125 Apples Way in South Lincoln.
Hey Stars fans, I'm defenseman Griffin Brown. Mark your calendar now to join us Friday, February 14th when we host the Sioux Falls Stampede at 7:05 at the Icebox. It's the perfect date night for you and your significant other to celebrate your love for Stars hockey. Purchase your tickets for our Valentine's Day game now by heading to LincolnStars.com.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most. For all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in segment number 3, final segment, Don't Punt Hour. We're going to stick with Husker football. Excuse me. We only got one more guy to talk about here. That guy being Nash Hutmacher. I always call him Nash Hutmacher. Excuse me, Nash Hutmacher. He did not actually get out invited to Indianapolis, despite seeing some rumblings on Twitter that he was actually having some pretty good practices, winning some drills versus impressive talent. Nonetheless, good morning, Pierson-El. Your thoughts on Nash not getting invited down to Indianapolis?
Those things, it's hard, with stuff like that. Not everybody's gonna have the opportunity and everything like that. But the fact that you went to some of those bowl games and Senior Bowl practices, you got that in there. Scouts seen that, so they can still do their homework and do what they need to and see what they need to. You are a two-sport athlete. You wrestled at Nebraska. That translate. That translates into the NFL. With hand fighting and everything like that, him being strong or whatnot. So I feel comfortable, with what he's shown and put out there. He was able to do what he was able to do, not really, focusing on one sport. So somebody gives him a chance or, does something and that's all he's going to put, everything into it. Be on the lookout what he turns into.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that he wasn't invited down there because a big part of that to me is the wrestling. Like, you got a guy right there that's clearly just wired a little bit differently than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even care if you love wrestling and football. Like, when you get to the Power 4 level, and especially a guy, like him who's been grinding it for a while, this is what he's been doing is football. Like, just pull out and just go wrestling, drop that amount of weight, go back to football, put on that amount of weight, do it all healthy, never putting yourself at any sort of risk nutritionally. Like, a guy handled it like he was a legit bodybuilder in terms of how locked in he was on the nutrition from losing the weight, going back to gaining it. And on top of that, it's not even just the attitude. The outside of the tangibles are just the stats. He's a phenomenal player at that position. So to your point, it's a bit of a bummer that he wasn't invited. I'm a little bit surprised by it. But we'll end with this. There's got to be scouts and people out there that certainly through some of those bowl games as well, some of those practices, they're going to want to at least get him on some camps and see what's left in there that they maybe looked over the first time.
I'm pretty sure he'll have workouts at the university and everything like that. They'll come in there to see him and whatnot. So it's not the end of the world if you don't go to the combine. You can still get to where you need to be at. If you don't get invited. I've known plenty of players that didn't go to the combine that still got drafted, so him being able to go off at pro day, might win it, might be better for his situation because those 40 times, regardless of certain things and everything like that, can kill your stock or can rise your stock. So the fact that you're coming to a place you're more comfortable and being around and everything like that, it might help you in the long end.
Yeah. This is a good text we'll wrap up with because this is, true when we're talking about any of the draft. Talking about this is 4-4-2-4. I think teams did this maybe on purpose to get a deal on him, considering the defensive tackle class is super deep. That'd be a way for teams to get him and as a free agent and pay him way less. And all of that's always definitely a true. You
gotta have 7 teams that want to see you to go to the NFL Combine. If you don't have 7 teams that want to see you, you won't get an invitation. So teams can be interested in him and whatnot. He could have had 6. I don't think a lot of people, realize that you have to have 7 teams that want to see you to go to the Combine. That's just not all we think no, you just have to, you just need 7 teams that would like to see you.
Yeah, and all that's how many teams are, those guys are picking across tons and tons of athletes as well. So I go with the unknown texters is they like him, and to your point, not that much. We only get to bring so many guys that we're going to put votes on. But like we all said, he's certainly going to have more chances. There's no doubt in my mind. We'll find out with all these Huskers and what happens in their NFL future. But DeMarnie Pierson-El, appreciate the time as always. What's brewing? Chance of Brewington up next.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and on behalf of the entire Koppel team, we would like to say thank you to all of our loyal customers and employees that have allowed us to become one of the most